For the past 8 years, we've watched the mainstream media, the Democratic Party, and even the President of the United States, Joe Biden himself, demonize Trump in every possible way. Completely unfair, lying about him all the time, comparing him to Hitler, saying that he's a threat to democracy, saying that all these terrible things are going to happen to you if you let him back in the Oval Office. Well, all of the words that they used, all the ways they described him, all of the anger that they've stirred up, certainly feels a little bit different now than it did a few days ago after the events of Saturday when Donald J. Trump was the victim of an attempted assassination. If that bullet had come a few inches one different way instead of just grazing his ear, we'd be having a much different conversation right now. But luckily, by the grace of God, the bullet did miss. Tragically, it killed another innocent Trump supporter in the crowd. But this is the result of some of the ways that Donald Trump has been portrayed, the lies that have been told about him for the past several years. And now Joe Biden is catching a lot of hell for this. Joe Biden's reaction to this has been criticized, and now even sitting down with the mainstream media members, Lester Holt of MSNBC, and he has problems answering these very simple questions. Biden shouldn't have said put Trump in Bullseye. I quote, meant focus on his rhetoric and policies. And yes, in a sit-down interview with MSNBC's Lester Holt, Biden is actually being asked about these things. And I'm going to be very upfront. When it comes to phrases like, fight like hell, when it comes to phrases like, put a bullseye on whatever, in isolation, I don't have a fucking problem with that. I think that words are just words, that rhetoric is just rhetoric most of the time. However, there's a massive double standard. When people like Joe Biden, when the Democratic Party, when the mainstream media attack Trump relentlessly for any of these idioms that he uses, anytime he says fight, 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 anytime he says fight like hell, they act like that those are calls to violence. Yet now that Joe Biden is on the other side, suddenly they don't want to talk about things like that. So we've got a few clips from this. This is abysmal for Biden. It just is. He's handled this poorly. And the fact that he's out there trying to do damage control now is very, very telling as Donald Trump makes an appearance at the RNC with a bandage on his ear, to the crowd just cheering and chanting for him because they love him so much. Biden is stumbling through answers to these questions. Let's watch this answer.
Have you taken a step back and done a little soul searching on things that you may have said that could incite people who are not balanced?
Well, I don't think, look, how do you talk about the threat to democracy, which is real, when a president says things like he says? Do you just not say anything because it may incite somebody? Look, I've not engaged in that rhetoric. Now, my opponent is engaged in that rhetoric.
To say you haven't engaged in that rhetoric is so disingenuous and it's lying. And again, like I said, I don't have any problem with saying, we got to put a target on his back, like things like this when you are talking about policy. If it is an actual threat, something that's different. I don't inherently have a problem with that. I do have a problem when you act like this one person is out there, when Trump is out there saying these things that could have potential cause violence, yet you are unable to compare yourself the same way. That's absolute fucking bullshit, and everyone knows it is.
He talks about to be a bloodbath if he loses, talking about how he's going to forgive all suspend the sentences of all those who...
Yeah, it's called a pardon, you fucking retard. You know the power that you have? You can't even come up with it, you mush-brained idiot.
Were arrested and sentenced to go to jail because of what happened to the Capitol.
Right, so, we can't say the word bloodbath. You can't say something like that. That would incite things. Well, then he's asked very directly about things that he has said.
You called your opponent an existential threat on a call a week ago. You said it's time to put Trump in the bullseye. There's some dispute about the context, but I think you appreciate that.
I didn't say crosshairs. I was talking about focus on. Look, the truth of the matter was, what I guess I was talking about at the time was there was very little focus on Trump's agenda.
Yeah, the term is bullseye.
It was a mistake to use the word. I didn't say crosshairs. I meant bullseye. I meant focus on him. Focus on what he's doing.
No one says crosshairs. Why do you keep bringing that up? And like I said, it's okay for you to say that, right? It's okay for you to say something like that. Make that comparison. Have a turn of phrase that sounds like that. But it's not okay when Donald Trump says something that, that could be interpreted very specifically this way. It's bullshit. You can't have it both ways. And Biden is out here floundering after all this has happened. It's quite frankly an embarrassment. Even people in the mainstream media are forced to look at this. As much as the media has been trying to pretend like this wasn't a big deal, deflect from this, deflect from that, the truth is somebody just took a shot at the fucking president. This is something we have not seen in decades, and it happened. And it happened as Joe Biden is the sitting president in a hotly contested challenge with Donald Trump to get Donald Trump back to the White House. Now his feet are being held to the fire, and this fucking retard has nothing of value to say. What do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comments section below. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.